It's time to predict that match card, ladies and gentlemen. WWE Money in the Bank 2024 takes place in Toronto, Canada on July the 6th. At the time of recording, we know one match for the show already. Damian versus the returning Seth Freakin Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, surprise, surprise, I'm sure there'll be two Money in the Bank ladder matches. I'll go through what we know so far, the qualifiers, and I'll give my way too early prediction of who I think will be winning Money in the Bank for the men and the women this year. And I'll go through the other matches that I think will be taking place on this show. So let's start off with what we know then. Priest versus Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth returning, in my opinion, at the perfect time, at a time where I think we were lacking challengers for Damian Priest going into Money in the Bank season. So Rollins being a top name on Raw was just a shot on the arm that Monday nights needed. And as for a match itself, it actually feels quite unpredictable because the winner of this will take on Gunther at SummerSlam. Of course, Gunther, winning King of the Ring, has earned himself a World Heavyweight Championship opportunity at the, well, second or third biggest show of the year, depending on what you want to call it. Looking as an early prediction for this one, of course, Seth looking to win the championship back. Priest was hoping he could have cashed in on Rollins, but Rollins lost the title at WrestleMania, therefore he cashed in on McIntyre instead. Of course, McIntyre has been the programmer of the last couple of months, so to have a proper Rollins versus Priest program is pretty exciting. Priest also did say when Rollins won the championship, Priest was the first challenger, so it's good to see if Priest has evolved over the last 12 months. He reckons he has, and in my personal opinion, he has as well, and deserves all the respect in the world, especially after that clash with Drew McIntyre, Clash at the Castle. Clearly looked like he hurt himself. He continued and did the rest of that 20-minute match. Of course, there is the curveball that the men's Money in the Bank match could be earlier in the night, and neither of these men could be walking out of Toronto as World Heavyweight Champion. Both, of course, have been successful at cashing in Money in the Bank in the past, both doing it at WrestleMania as well. So it would be kind of interesting if someone was to do it to them at Money in the Bank and take the World Heavyweight Championship. But as a way too early prediction, I will say Damian Priest will prove himself to be the top dog on Monday Night Raw going into SummerSlam and defeating Seth Freakin Rollins. Moving from one world champion to another puts us nicely into the matches I'm predicting for this show. Cody Rhodes, the current undisputed WWE champion, I don't think he'll be defending his title here. If we go back to Clash at the Castle, he defeated AJ Styles, and just before he left, he was, well, first side by side with Solo Sikoa, but then was attacked by the rest of the Bloodline 2.0, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Of course, the save was made by Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, who have been, well, having a numbers disadvantage for a lot of the time of this program. Cody Rhodes makes a perfect person to stand in to make a six-man tag team match. And of course, doing that for me, I think means that we can finally get a victory for KO and Randy in this rivalry. Solo then can have some big question marks going into SummerSlam, perhaps to do with the Bloodline stuff, and hopefully we can build a Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton feud, because Randy had a little glare at Cody's championship. You couldn't help but notice that in Scotland. So I have a feeling we could get the Battle of Legacy at SummerSlam, of course, and Randy has been known to turn heel and turn on people from time to time to get what he wants, and if he wants the world title, Cody is the guy he'd have to currently go through. So current early prediction is the six-man tag team match happens. I think that Cody, Randy and KO win, and I think from then onwards, I think we'll see the direction of going with Cody and Randy Orton for SummerSlam. We move on to the Women's World Championship. I have Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega. These two have been at odds for the last couple of weeks, starting during the six-man tag team match with the Judgment Day versus LWO and Braun Strowman. Of course, Liv Morgan came to ringside. It was the time she was straddling Dominic Mysterio. Of course, her and Zelina got at odds during that at ringside, and this past week, Liv didn't let it go, wearing Dominic's jacket, costing Zelina a chance of qualifying for Money in the Bank. Now, Zelina is no way going to win this match. Liv Morgan will retain, and of course it's a similar sort of challenger that Rhea Ripley had at the start of her title reign, so there is some symmetry to do this match, so I think it's fun and making sense in that way. But Zelina hasn't won a singles match since 2023, and I want to say it's like April, May time as well, so worthy challenger, not really, but she has been on the injured list as well, so trying to give benefit of the doubt. Either way, Liv Morgan will be retaining. I would say she doesn't need Dominic's help at this moment, but I'm sure they'll interact at some point during Money in the Bank as well. So let's move on to the Money in the Bank ladder matches, shall we? We'll start off with the women's. Of course, Io Sky is the only one to have qualified at the time of recording, defeating Kiana James and Zelina Vega in a triple threat match. We do know that Lyra Valkyria will be in a triple threat match against Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane this upcoming week on Raw. I expect Lyra will join the field. To give my prediction for who I think the other four will be from Monday Night Raw, I'll go with Natalya. Of course, this show is in Canada. And of course, on the SmackDown side, I'm going to go again with a fellow Canadian, Chelsea Green. I think would be fun for the spot. I think Tiffany Stratton is going to be in there, and I think Naomi will round off the field. And I wouldn't be surprised if Piper Niven got a shoe-in if Chelsea Green wasn't to take part. But certainly, I think it's going to be a fun time, this women's Money in the Bank ladder match. To give my early prediction at this stage, I think Tiffany Stratton is going to walk away the winner of the women's Money in the Bank this year. Moving on to the men's, and Jey Uso is the only person to have qualified at this stage, defeating Rey Mysterio and Finn Balor on Monday Night Raw. There are other qualifiers that are set as well, including on SmackDown. We've got Kevin Owens, Andrade, and Grayson Waller. I'm going to predict Andrade to pick up the victory there. We do also have Tama Tonga, Randy Orton, and Carmelo Hayes, and I think Carmelo Hayes will get himself into the Money in the Bank ladder match. Of course, Randy and Tama cancelling each other out, therefore they end up in the six-man tag team match I've already predicted earlier in this video. And of course, on Monday Night Raw next week, if he's still alive, Chad Gable, Braun Strowman, and Bronson Reed will be taking part in a triple threat match. And well, my prediction before the ending of the White Six on Raw was Chad Gable was going to get in this Money in the Bank ladder match. Time will tell if that will be the case, but I'll stick with it and say Chad for now. But really hope he's okay after that White Six attack. To pick the final two other spots then for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, I will predict Otis from Monday Night Raw. I think potentially Sheamus and Kaiser could cancel themselves out in a triple threat match if that was to take place. I know both wanted to be in Money in the Bank. And from SmackDown, I'm going to say LA Knight. It's LA Knight or AJ Styles for me, but I will say LA Knight because I think he would be good to be in the match because it's someone that I think a lot of people want to see win Money in the Bank. I think also you could have Logan cost him in the ladder match, which just adds a bit of spark going into their match potentially for SummerSlam this year. They've already got the program started. I think there won't be enough room on the Money in the Bank card, so I think that will take place at SummerSlam, so they can use this as a tool to build for that towards SummerSlam season. And for an early prediction for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, I will say main event Jey Uso makes sense. Yeet in the bank. You can see the merchandise printing already. It also gives him an excuse if he needs to get over to SmackDown to get involved in the Bloodline Civil War. So for me, that's my reasoning of why I think Jey Uso probably will win Money in the Bank this year. As the show is in Toronto, there is an outside chance we could see Sami Zayn defend the Intercontinental Championship. Just to wrap up my match predictions, it's a bonus match, if you will, because we've seen 5 match cards as of late. If this doesn't happen, I'd expect Sami in Money in the Bank instead of Otis, but for me, I'm going to just say we could get Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker. We could even get a variation of a 4-way after this past week on Raw, with Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser also being involved. I think it's inevitable that Sami Zayn will drop that IC title to perhaps Bron Breakker at some point in the future, now that he's chasing for it. However, should this become a multi-man match, then I think this would be a good excuse for Sami to retain here and perhaps delay the match for Sami and Bron Breakker over until SummerSlam. So that's my match card predicted then for Money in the Bank 2024. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What matches do you think we will see on the show, and who do you think will be winning Money in the Bank this year? I'd be fascinated to know who your predictions are. Thanks for watching. Look after yourselves, and check out the side of the screen right now if you want to see more videos on this channel. And yeah, I'll see you for the next video. Take care, all the best. I'll see you next time.